A fighter pilot sits in the cockpit of the most advanced jet on Earth. His helmet costs more than a Ferrari. But this isn't just headgear. Through this visor, he can see through the floor of his own aircraft. He can lock onto enemy targets just by looking at them. He can spot incoming missiles from over 800 miles away, and every single helmet is custom built to fit one pilot's head with laser precision. If it's off by just 2 millimeters, the whole system fails. This is the F-35 Gen 3 helmet-mounted display system. And today, you're about to see exactly how American pilots get fitted for the most expensive and advanced helmet ever created. The fitting process takes 2 full days. It involves 3D head scans, precise pupil measurements, and custom-milled padding that matches the exact shape of a pilot's skull. But why does it need to be this perfect? What happens if it doesn't fit right? And how does a piece of equipment turn a pilot into someone who can see in every direction at once? Introduction. The F-35 Lightning II is the most advanced fighter jet in the world. It carries stealth technology, reaches speeds over 1,200 miles per hour, and costs around $78 million per aircraft. But none of that matters if the pilot can't see what's happening around him. That's where the helmet comes in. This isn't your grandfather's flight helmet. It's a flying computer wrapped around the pilot's head. It weighs just over 5 pounds, but it replaces an entire cockpit worth of equipment. Traditional fighter jets have a heads-up display mounted on the dashboard. The F-35 doesn't. Everything the pilot needs to see is projected directly onto the visor. Flight data, targeting information, threat warnings, infrared vision, and a full 360-degree view of the battlefield. The helmet is officially called the Gen 3 Helmet-Mounted Display System. It's made by Collins Aerospace and Elbit Systems. Each one costs $400,000. That's enough money to buy a Lamborghini or send 2 kids to Harvard for 4 years. If you've ever wondered how our military stays ahead of every other nation, drop a comment below and let us know what you think. The technology inside. So what makes this helmet worth more than most people's houses? Let's start with the display system. The visor uses OLED technology. That stands for Organic Light Emitting Diode. The reason they switched to OLED was simple. The original helmets used LCD screens, and they had a major problem. At night, when pilots tried to land on aircraft carriers, the display would bloom. The light would spread out and blur, making it almost impossible to see clearly. For a pilot trying to land a 30-ton jet on a moving ship in the dark, that's life or death. So engineers replaced the LCD screens with OLED. Problem solved. The helmet also has built-in night vision. Most pilots used to wear separate night vision goggles that clipped onto their helmets. Bulky, uncomfortable, and one more thing that could break during a high-speed maneuver. The Gen 3 helmet doesn't need them. Night vision is integrated directly into the visor. The pilot just presses a button and the world lights up in infrared. They can see in complete darkness without any extra equipment. Then there's the targeting system. The helmet has sensors that track where the pilot is looking, not just the direction of their head, but the exact angle of their gaze. This is done using a combination of magnetic, optical, and inertial sensors. It's called a hybrid tracker, and it's accurate to within a fraction of a degree. The pilot can lock onto a target just by looking at it. No need to turn the entire aircraft. Just look at the enemy jet or the incoming missile and the system locks on. And here's the wildest part. The helmet lets pilots see through their own plane. 6 infrared cameras are mounted around the F-35's fuselage. These cameras feed live video into the helmet. When the pilot looks down, they don't see the floor of the cockpit. They see the ground below the aircraft, as if the jet were invisible. It's called the distributed aperture system. It gives the pilot a full 360-degree view. No blind spots, no need to roll the aircraft to see what's behind them. Just turn your head and you see everything. Why, the fit has to be perfect. Now here's the thing. All of that incredible technology is useless if the helmet doesn't fit right. And I mean perfectly right. We're talking about millimeter-level precision. If the helmet shifts even slightly during flight, the whole system breaks down, the display goes out of alignment, the targeting system loses accuracy, the night vision becomes useless. Let me give you an example. The distance between a pilot's pupils is measured with a device called a pupillometer. This measurement has to be accurate to within 2 millimeters. Why? Because the display projects 2 separate images, one for each eye. If those images don't line up perfectly, the pilot sees a blurry, doubled image. Try flying a supersonic jet in combat when you're seeing double. It doesn't work. The helmet also has to stay stable during high G maneuvers. When an F-35 pulls a hard turn, the pilot can experience up to 9 times the force of gravity. That's 9 Gs. Your body weighs 9 times more than normal. Your head feels like it's made of concrete. If the helmet isn't fitted correctly, it will slide around. The display will shift. The targeting system will lose track of where you're looking. There's also the issue of safety during ejection. If a pilot has to eject from the aircraft, the helmet has to stay on and protect their head at speeds over 630 miles per hour. But the helmet weighs 5.1 pounds. When you're being ejected at that speed, the force on your neck is massive. The Air Force found that pilots weighing between 136 and 165 pounds are at elevated risk for neck injuries during ejection. Pilots under 136 pounds aren't even allowed to fly the F-35. Quick question. Do you think $400,000 is worth it for a helmet that can save a pilot's life and win battles? Let us know in the comments. The 2-day fitting process. So how do they make sure the helmet fits perfectly? It's the 2-day fitting process. Let me walk you through it. Day 1 starts with measurements. The pilot's head is measured in 13 to 15 different places. Head circumference, facial contours, and the shape of the skull. All of it gets recorded. Then comes the 3D scan. The pilot sits in a chair while a high-resolution laser scanner maps their entire head. This isn't a quick snapshot. It's a detailed 3-dimensional model of the pilot's skull. Accurate down to fractions of a millimeter, the scan takes less than 3 minutes. Next is the pupillometer. This device measures the exact distance between the pilot's pupils. If the pupils are even slightly off-center, the pilot won't see a single fused image. They'll see 2 overlapping images. Once all the measurements are done, the data is fed into a computer. That computer controls a CNC mill, which carves out custom foam padding. This padding is shaped to match the exact contours of their skull. No 2 pads are the same. While the padding is being made, the rest of the helmet is assembled. The display unit, the sensors, the tracking system, the night vision camera. Before we go further, if you're enjoying this, take a second to hit the like button and subscribe. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. It costs you nothing but helps us keep bringing you content like this. Day 2 is all about fine-tuning. The pilot comes back and the custom-fitted helmet is placed on their head for the first time. Technicians check the fit. Is it snug? Does it move when the pilot shakes their head? Then comes the optical alignment. The pilot puts on the helmet and looks at a distant object. The technicians adjust the display unit inside the helmet until the pilot sees a single, clear image at infinity. Next, the visor is trimmed and contoured. The visor has to sit close to the pilot's face, but not so close that it touches when they talk or move their jaw. The oxygen mask is fitted and tested. Pilots are sent to an oxygen tester to make sure there are no leaks. If the mask doesn't seal properly, the pilot won't get enough oxygen at high altitudes. Finally, the entire system is tested in a simulated cockpit. The pilot runs through basic maneuvers, looking left, Looking right, looking up and down, the technicians watch to make sure the display stays aligned and the helmet stays stable. The whole process takes about 8 to 10 hours over 2 days, ongoing maintenance. But the fitting process doesn't end there. The helmet has to be maintained. Every 105 days, it goes through a full inspection. Every 120 days, the pilot comes in for a fit check. Why so often? Because even small changes can throw off the fit. A new haircut, a couple of pounds of weight gain or loss, a change in facial hair, any of these things can affect how the helmet sits on the pilot's head. This level of precision might sound extreme, but it's absolutely necessary. During combat, a pilot is pulling high G turns, banking hard, diving, climbing. The helmet has to stay locked in place. If it shifts, even slightly, the display will move. The targeting system will lose track of where the pilot is looking. In a combat scenario, that could mean the difference between life and death. There's also wear and tear. The helmet is constantly being used, taken on and off, exposed to temperature changes, vibrations, and stress. Components can degrade over time. The padding can compress. The sensors can drift out of alignment. Regular inspections catch these issues before they become problems. The Distributed Aperture System. Let's talk about those 6 cameras. They're part of the Distributed Aperture System, or DAS. This system is what gives the pilot that 360-degree view. Each camera is an infrared sensor mounted at strategic points around the aircraft. One on the nose, one on the belly, one on each side, one on the tail, and one on top. Together they cover every angle. There are no blind spots. The cameras feed live video into the helmet. The images are stitched together by a powerful computer inside the aircraft. The pilot doesn't see 6 separate screens. They see one seamless view of the world around them. If they look down, they see the ground beneath the jet. If they look up, they see the sky. It's like the aircraft doesn't exist. The DAS isn't just for seeing, it's also a threat detection system. The infrared cameras can spot incoming missiles from over 800 miles away. They can track enemy aircraft. They can identify launch points. If a missile is fired at the F-35, the DAS sees it immediately. The pilot gets a warning on the helmet display, and the aircraft's defensive systems can react. The DAS also helps with navigation. It can detect weather patterns, see through clouds, and provide visual data in conditions where a human eye would be useless. Originally, the DAS was made by Northrop Grumman, but in 2018, Lockheed Martin switched to Raytheon. Why? Cost and reliability. Raytheon's version is 5 times more reliable and twice as capable. It's also cheaper to produce. Here's a question. If you could see through your car while driving, would you feel safer or more distracted? Drop your answer below. The cost and scale. $400,000 per helmet. That's a lot. But when you consider what goes into it, the price makes sense. Each helmet is custom built. The materials are high-tech. Carbon fiber, advanced polymers, OLED screens, infrared sensors, magnetic and optical trackers. Then there's the labor. Highly trained technicians spend hours on each helmet. The 3D scanning, the CNC milling, the optical alignment, the testing. And here's the thing. Each F-35 program requires multiple helmets. On average, each aircraft needs 2.5 to 3.5 helmets over its lifetime. Why? Wear and tear, pilot changes, attrition, backups. If a helmet gets damaged, the pilot needs a replacement. Over the life of the F-35 program, that adds up to tens of thousands of helmets. But the costs are coming down. When the program started, helmets were even more expensive. Over time, improvements in manufacturing have reduced costs. Switching to OLED displays saved $17.4 million across the program. Reducing part count by 27% and assembly labor by 10% also helped A recent contract for 2 production lots was $347.4 million. That's spread across hundreds of helmets. And let's not forget the bigger picture. The F-35 program has invested over $1.7 trillion. That includes research, development, production, and sustainment. In that context, the helmet is a small but critical part. Without it, the F-35 can't perform. The pilot can't see. The targeting system doesn't work. So yes, $400,000 is a lot for a helmet, but it's worth every penny. Pilot experience. Over 1,000 pilots have been fitted with the Gen 3 helmet so far. That number is growing every month. There are multiple pilot fit facilities around the world. Luke Air Force Base in Arizona, Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, Naval Air Station Lemoore in California. There's even one in the Netherlands. These facilities don't just serve American pilots. The F-35 is used by allied nations. Pilots from the United Kingdom, Israel, Japan, Australia, and several other countries all get fitted for the same helmet system. The feedback from pilots has been overwhelmingly positive. Many have said they've never experienced this level of one-on-one treatment. The technicians spend hours making sure everything is perfect. They answer questions, explain how the system works, and make sure the pilot feels comfortable and confident. Pilots who have used the helmet in combat speak highly of it. They say the situational awareness is unlike anything they've ever experienced. Being able to see in every direction without turning the aircraft is a game changer. Being able to lock onto targets with their eyes is faster and more intuitive than any other system. The integrated night vision means they can fly missions in complete darkness without any extra gear. And the threat detection from the DAS gives them an early warning that can save their lives. What do you think is the most impressive feature of this helmet? Comment your answer. Why this matters. This helmet represents more than just advanced technology. It represents America's commitment to giving our pilots every possible advantage. Our servicemen and women put their lives on the line every single day. They deserve the best equipment we can build. And the Gen 3 helmet is exactly that. It's the result of decades of research, billions of dollars in investment, and countless hours of engineering. The helmet turns a fighter pilot into someone who can see through their own aircraft, target enemies with their eyes, and operate in any environment, day or night. The fitting process is exhaustive because it has to be. The helmet only works if it's perfect. And for the men and women who defend our nation, perfect is the only acceptable standard. Our military continues to lead the world because of innovations like this. While other nations are still trying to develop basic stealth technology, we're already perfecting systems that give our pilots abilities that seem like science fiction. The F-35 program isn't just about building better jets. It's about making sure that when our pilots go into combat, they come home safely. This level of technological superiority doesn't happen by accident. It takes vision, commitment, and the willingness to invest in our armed forces. The $400,000 helmet is a perfect example. Yes, it's expensive, but the alternative, sending pilots into combat with inferior equipment, is unacceptable. Our troops deserve the best, and that's exactly what they're getting. Conclusion. The F-35 Gen 3 helmet-mounted display system isn't just a piece of equipment. It's a technological marvel that gives American pilots an unmatched advantage in the skies. From the 2-day custom fitting process to the 360-degree vision system to the integrated threat detection, every detail is designed to keep our pilots safe and effective. If this breakdown showed you something you didn't know about how our military operates, hit that like button and subscribe. We've got more stories like this coming your way.